teenage years were rough, man, you know. I've been trying to get in touch with my teenage self, man, you know. I love that wee guy, but it made it so difficult for me and everybody around me. You know, like I loved heavy metal. I was like a real school shooter vibes back then, you know. I was a wee mosher. And I love heavy metal, man. You know, Metallica. Still love them. Even they just put a new album out. It's shite. I don't care. Metallica, man. My favourite Metallica. Sometimes I wonder why I was like into that type of music. It's quite dark, you know, it's quite heavy. And my favourite Metallica song, it's the last track on their 4th record. It's called Dyer's Eve. It's the first kind of personal song, because a lot of their early records are quite like fantasy, you know, it's like, oh, the devil, or cocaine, or like doing cocaine with the devil, you know. But then this one's like, the lead singer, James Hetfield, he wrote it about his mum and dad, because his mum and dad were part of this weird sect of Christianity where they didn't believe in medicine, you know. They're called Christian Scientists. And they don't believe in medicine. So if somebody in their family was sick, they would just pray for it to get better. And it wouldn't work, you know, because there is no God, right? So, you know, like his wee brother broke his arm when he was a wee boy. He talks about this. His wee brother broke his arm, right? But instead of like fixing it and setting it, they just like prayed for it. And then his wee brother's arm was just like fucked. Forever, you know? And it's even worse, his one of his other siblings, I think it was his wee sister or something, she got sick, and instead of giving her medicine, they just prayed for it, and his wee sister died, you know? And he wrote this song about it. It's so fucking heavy, man, you know? First lines in it are like, "Dear mother, dear father, what is this hell you have put me through?" You know? And I would sing along with that. But my mum and dad weren't in a cult. They weren't perfect, but they didn't let my sister die, you know? So I'd have to change the words, you know? I'd sing along with my own experiences, you know? I'd be like, "Dear mother, dear father, why did you get the spaghetti bolognese from Marks and Spencer's? It has mushrooms in it. Don't get the one from Marks and Spencer's, get the ones from Morrison's. It also has mushrooms in it, but it's not chunks of mushroom. It's a porcini powder. Yeah, it's not the taste I have an issue with, it's the texture." I loved all that stuff, all that heavy metal music. Like when I was a teenager, I'd be doing my maths homework. I'm terrible at numbers, man. You know, I'd be doing my maths homework and stick on like Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, or like, you know, Rage Against the Machine. I was always doing maths homework to Rage Against the Machine. You know that Rage Against the Machine song where they're like, "Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me." I'd be doing my maths homework like, "I probably will." I really need to get this 7 times table sorted, man, you know. 7 times table's hard, man. To this day, I struggle with it. 7 times 7 is 49. It doesn't seem like it would be, you know. And then you add it up and you're like 35, 42, yeah, fair enough, you know. You've made your point, number 7. You know, my dad, I remember the first gig I went to, my dad, he was a bit of a mosher, a bit of a goth hairdresser guy, you know. He took me a gig in the Green when I was a wee boy, and we went to see like Marilyn Manson, you know, and like, who else was on? Iggy Pop was there. It was really cool, man, you know. That's one of the ways I kind of bonded with my dad, man. And he has tattoos, you know. Everybody in my family has tattoos, though. I didn't know that was like a working class thing, you know. And then I met a bunch of posh people doing stand-up, and I was like, why do you have no drawings on your body, you know? It's weird, man, you know? Like, my dad has tattoos. He has like 2 dragons on this arm fighting over an orb. Yeah, it's silly, you can laugh. And he has like Japanese writing on his arm that he doesn't understand, you know? That's like loads of cool stuff. And my granddad has tattoos, even. My granddad has tattoos. He has, because he was in the Navy, he got this tattoo on his hand of a swallow. And it's a really special tattoo. You're only allowed to have this tattoo if you're in the Navy and you've sailed a certain distance around the world, or you work in Brewdog. So it's very special circumstances. You know, and I remember this tattoo my granddad had when I was growing up that I was never allowed to look at. You know, I'd be around at my nana's house after school. My mum and dad were working. Go to my nana's house, my granddad's house, and we'd be sitting watching cowboy films together. TCM, just buzzing. And I'd be playing with my Lego or something, you know. And I'd look up and I'd go, "Grandy, what's that tattoo?" And he'd go, "Oh, it's a swallow. You know, it's a swallow. You're only allowed that if you've sailed a certain distance around the world." I was like, "All right, cool." And I was like, "What's that other tattoo you've got?" And he'd go, "Don't you fucking look at that." You know? I was never allowed to look at the other tattoo, you know. But then a couple of years ago, you know, 20 years on for me messing about with the Lego, my granddad was in the hospital, right? And he was getting a hip replacement, and he was having surgery done, so he was under anaesthetic, and he was kind of in and out of consciousness. And I turned up for visiting hours, and he was out of it. I was like, for fuck's sake. Wasted trip, you know. I don't like the bus, and I took it to get here. But then I realised, oh, now's my chance, you know. So I went up to his wrist, I took hold of his wrist very gently, and I flipped it round, and I finally saw what he had tattooed on his forearm. You know, he had a naked woman dancing with her boobs out, you know. That's how I knew she was naked, you know. She was on a pole and she was like, you know. I was like, oh, that's why he never wanted me to see the tattoo, because it was like porn. He was a young shagger once himself, you know, and it was cool, man. I thought, that'll be me, man, one day. I'll be in a hospital bed, you know, and I'll be fading in and out of consciousness. Then my grandkids will come in and they'll rush towards the bed and they'll go, "Oh, Papa Christopher, Papa Christopher, oh, what's that tattoo you've got on your arm?" And I'll be like, "It's a dinosaur." Oh. I hate it so much. Do you know why I hate it? I've got a wee freckle underneath the dinosaur's claw, so it looks like he's dropped a Maltese. Which would be shite if he were a T-Rex, because you'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's that there. But I'll be like, oh, it's a dinosaur, you know. Don't fucking look at that, you know. And they'll go, Papa Christopher, you always said you never wanted to have kids until you were like, had a house to bring them up in, but you grew up in like a housing crisis, so like, how are we even here? I go, that's a good point. And then they'll just turn into sand and blow away on the wind.